Well, I go back, Meredith, to my managing days. The off season was legitimately the off season until February sometime. And now, with meetings, general managers meetings, owners meetings, the winter meetings here, it keeps you pretty busy.
There were obviously a lot of initiatives over the past couple of years regarding to pace of play and all of that. How pleased are you with the way things have been progressing in that state?
Meredith, I think the pace of play is something we all understand why we're doing it. We don't necessarily want to shorten the game. We just want to take that time away to, eliminate that stand-around time that nobody really likes. And I know the players were into it. Of course, you get into the season and then they sort of take a little more time because we lost some time. But overall, we reduced the games. We got it back under 3 hours, and hopefully, we can continue in that direction. But it has to be a cooperative thing. I mean, to me, it's not something that if you don't do this is going to happen to you, because you can't. This game is tough to play, and we don't want to. Threaten any players in that regard, because it's not the right thing to do.
Are there any new initiatives you guys are working on right now?
Well, we're talking just about, maybe shortening the time on the clock, because we realized that we had a lot of pitchers waiting sort of for the clock to wind down a little bit. So, and what we do now, and this gives us an advantage going into next season, is the fact that we experiment in the fall league in Arizona. And by reducing the clock by 5 seconds, just to see if we can catch a little bit here, a little bit there. And then we're also experimenting for the second year in a row in Arizona with the slide directly into second base, which as you saw in the postseason, we had an incident that we want to eliminate guys being carried off the field.
I was going to ask you, how do you change that? How do you go about changing that? Because it's something in baseball that's kind of just happened forever. So how do you go about trying to discipline that?
I know it is very it's very tough to do. When Posey got hurt behind the plate, it was the same thing. For the longest time, I was talking, not only Buster, but we talked to Sabian and Bochy, and I just said, I'm sorry, I don't see any difference. I played the game, I understand, but I don't know how we can really legislate something like this. And then you talk to a guy like Matheny with the Cardinals, who lost a year and a half of his life, can't account for it because of concussions. And I get letters at the office from parents of youngsters who get carried off the field in the minor leagues. So we had to put pencil to paper and try to get something down. It's not perfect, but so far so good that we haven't had anybody carried off the field.
You look at baseball now, you look at baseball 5-10 years ago, pre-replay, post-replay. How different is it for you knowing that replay system is in place?
Well, it's different, and we used to accept the imperfections of our game. The umpire missed that call, or one thing or the other. But that was, you felt a level playing field. You played 162 games, and you benefited sometimes, and sometimes you got hurt by it. But you didn't really make a big deal of it. But then technology, people cried out for it, because the technology's there. Other sports have tried it. Football tried it, took it away and put it back. And, we took some time in implementing replay, and we're proud of the way it works. Unfortunately, once we put replay in, I think everybody wants the game to be perfect, and it's not going to happen. And we miss very few calls as far as in replay. In other words, even when you send it to replay, I think we miss like 2% of the ones that are sent to us. But it's just been a strange phenomenon for me that everybody thinks, how can you miss that call? But the only way I look at it, and I get the big picture out of it, is that, we overturned 50% of the challenges. That's something we couldn't have done a few years ago. So, it is an advantage. We are, helping the right team win the particular game. So hopefully we can continue to tweak it and keep it going.
Well, with that being said, do you see that advancing? Do you think it could go as far as balls and strikes calls, or do you think that there is a limit to how far replay can go?
Yeah, I don't think we ever want to eliminate the human being here, and I don't see balls and strikes ever being a part of this. And I know there are some guys that you watch on TV that are paid to, get people's attention, but I'm not really a fan of, trying to put this game in a test tube. I think we can help it because, you can help the umpires because a lot of times they're blocked out and and things happen so quickly. But as far as balls and strikes, we have to draw the line.
Let's talk a little bit about your immediate future. You're heading to Cuba.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we were invited. It's a goodwill trip with a handful of players, and it's exciting for me. I had never been. I heard Don Zimmer used to talk about it, because he had gone over there and played. I think it was with the Brooklyn Dodgers, and knowing that the hotbed of baseball and knowing how much they're so passionate about baseball and the number of Cuban players that we have over in our major leagues. I'm just curious, and I'm sort of interested in seeing where we land, and so we're going to go there for a few days and see what we see.